Greetings. Once again, it's your boy, Cypher Da MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs. Back, another episode of the Into the Cypher podcast. Thank you so much for joining your boy. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you had a blessed week. Hopefully you had a lot of turkey. Save me some of that stuffing. I like the stuffing. But now, hopefully everyone had a great week. Enjoyed your time with family, friends, and just being thankful, just being grateful to seeing another turkey, or as I call it, yard bird season. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate you joining us today. You already know what the topic is, the princess mindset. But before we get into that, before we delve, I say, you know we got to get our disclaimers out the way. If you're new to the YouTube channel, definitely drop a mic on that like button. Hit the subscribe button also. It's free. It helps the channel grow. If you're new to the podcast, definitely continue to download and share. But we're going to get into our disclaimers. And here they are. I don't have a master's or a doctorate from Harvard. I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not a, guru of any kind or anything such as that. I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist or anything such as that. I am just a regular Joe Schmo. Just a regular guy, giving you the benefit of his experience, as we tend to look at things from a different perspective, to help us continue to be the best versions of ourselves, not only for ourselves, but for those around us. So I'm on this journey with you, trying to improve each and every day, getting better each and every day. And I hope that you are as well. So with that being said, oh, we got a goodie for you. I'm going to rub my hands together like this. We got a goodie for you. The princess mindset. All right. Now, I know many of you are probably thinking, what in the world is he talking about? What is he talking about? Like, what is it in reference to? Well, I'll put it to you like this. Society has kind of had a large part in us growing up, a large influence. So how we view ourselves, sometimes we can trace back to what society has already established in our lives, sometimes even before we were born. Now, in these days and times, you have a type of woman who wants to consider herself a queen. Like, she has a queen mentality. I'm a queen. I deserve to be treated a certain way. We're going to get into that. But I was thinking the other day, when I say the other day, I mean, a couple months ago, I guess. And I'm like, well, where did that mentality come from? At some point, it had to have shifted from something else. There could be any various reasons. Strength or to show that she's strong or just, it could be different reasons. But it had to start somewhere. So I call it the princess mindset. Unbeknownst to me, you know how your boy likes to do his research and things of that nature, there's something called the princess mentality or princess syndrome. I was kind of bummed out because I thought I coined a phrase and it was going to be used and stuff like that. But anyway, there's an article on sway.com, sway with 2 A's.com. And it's from about 2 years ago, right at the start of the pandemic. So some of the information may be kind of, I'm not going to say outdated, but it was referencing the pandemic and dating and things of that nature. And the name of the article is by a Dr. Nikki Goldstein. How the princess mentality could be sabotaging your relationships. Ooh. Wow. Makes you think, huh? Now, in my opinion, I call the princess mindset that of a woman who wants to be a queen, wants to be treated as a queen, but her mindset is still that of a young girl. Thinking that everything should be her way, everything should go her way. She's entitled, she has a sense of entitlement. all because either she looks pretty or she's always had things done for her. So there's a natural expectation that things will continue to just be done for her as she gets older. And I'm like, well, how can you be called a queen if you have a princess mindset? Now, this article references it in a different way, and I wanted to kind of give you that information, so that way, if you want to check out the article, I definitely will leave the link in the description box below, as well as on the podcast, so you can check it out yourself and see exactly what the article states. Maybe this applies to you. Maybe you're exhibiting some of the traits. Maybe you've had relationships that didn't work out and you just didn't know why. Maybe there's a trait or characteristic that turned the other person off. You never know. You never know. And that's why we want to kind of continue to work on ourselves, because it could be something based off of how society views us that we live up to, sometimes unknowingly. It can happen. The Matrix. Neo has taught that. He taught us that. Well, the princess mindset. Well, let's take it back further. Young girls, when they grow up, they're either they're playing with baby dolls, or they're playing with princesses. Halloween costumes, they're either going to dress up as, they don't dress up as boy characters, they want to be a princess, or they want to be, a mermaid, or if they're really into wearing black, a witch. It really, it depends on the child. But for the most part, it's princesses. I consider Barbie in that princess category. I mean, if you look at it, Barbie has what? A dream house, a dream car. Ken, who is possibly, Brad Pitt before there was Brad Pitt. I mean, this dude is flawless.
You said it yourself.
This dude is flawless. Nice chin structure, bone structure, everything. It's amazing. I want to be his friend. I want to be his next door neighbor. I want to be Ken's next door neighbor. We don't even have to be friends. We could just be next door neighbors, and I can be like, "Hi, Ken." All right, I digress. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these young girls, they grow up fantasizing about the knight in shining armor and someone coming to save them and treating them a certain kind of way. If you look at the old movies, the old Disney movies, the princess was always what? Some girl, some damsel in distress. Some damsel in distress. Locked up in a tower, or locked up in some castle, or lost in the woods, and 7 little men come help her out, or whatever. I don't know. But they were always in trouble. They were always needing someone to come save them. And when they saved them, it was kind of like, oh, I'm in love because you come save me. I'm like, really? I mean, I was just in the neighborhood and I thought I'd help. But the fact of the matter is, it was always painted that picture. So these young girls grow up thinking, oh my gosh, if I could find someone like that, if I could find my Prince Charming, if I can find someone to come do this for me and do this for me. So a lot of emphasis growing up for a lot of these young girls is on how they look. There's no emphasis on how they should treat the man or the guy. It's saying, hey, you need to make yourself look pretty. You need to make yourself look a certain way. You need to make yourself, be available or kind of just, just look so that way he doesn't look at any other woman or anything such as that. And it's kind of like, well, nowhere in that is how to treat him, how to value him, how to do things for him. It's always a one-way street. Hence, the queens of today. I mean, I understand a lot of women are finding themselves and saying, you know what? I can do anything that a man can do. I can also be strong and assertive and not be looked at in a negative way. True. I'm all for women that want to empower themselves and look at themselves and value themselves and see that they do have worth. But what you don't want to do is lose yourself in the midst of your journey and impose this title on yourself and you don't exhibit those characteristics that would be associated with the title that you're giving yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Every queen wants to find their king and things of that nature, and I'm all for love and finding who values you and who will treat you the way that you feel that you need to be treated. However, the sense of entitlement, though, that comes along with that is where there's a disparity. And then that's why you have this tug of war, this battle between the sexes, so to speak, and why you see the gap between men and women not really understanding each other. Because you have all these different personalities and you have these different characteristics or things of that nature that it's like, wow, where are we? Where can I fit in, or do we fit together? So it's a matter of balancing going from a princess to a queen and trying to find out the absolute best way to do that and still keep a sense of self-worth. And now, a message from our sponsor.
Are you someone that is ready to strike out on their own and get their first apartment? You and your roommates are all ready and set to go to live the good life and pretty much get your life started? Or are you about to leave college and looking for a new place to live in the new city with your new degree? Well, guess what? There's a company called Credit Rent Boost that will allow you to get credit for the rent that you pay and get it reported to the credit bureaus. This will not only allow you to boost your credit, but also set you up long term, so when you are ready to make your first purchase as a homeowner. So give them a try. CreditRentBoost.com, and you can use promotion code OVM24522. It may be the best decision you ever made.
I love that guy's voice. Don't you? Blink. So, back to the article itself. Again, it's by Dr. Nikki Goldstein. And in the article, she mentions, dealing with COVID and how people are reaching out to her about finding the one. Not Jet Li's movie, The One, which is a great movie, by the way. It's basically about needing to erase the fairy tale fantasy when looking for love. It's an amazing feeling, but it has its challenges and high points and low points and good things and things of that nature. And coming into it with a mentality that is outdated tends to kind of have a negative impact on those types of relationships. Like, for instance, if you think of a princess, you think of someone of royal birthright, right? A princess, in those terms, they are being trained, mind you, to becoming a queen. Meaning that they're being taught the ins and outs and how to handle the rigors of queendom, I guess, if that's a word. So they're being taught how to manage those daily responsibilities, how to handle the pressures, right? They're being trained. But when you have these type of women who are, have the queen mindset, they're not taking responsibility. They're not taking any accountability because there's no training, or if there is, it's in a negative way. They're being taught by, hurt aunties, hurt older cousins, maybe even hurt mothers who've gone through relationship after relationship, and for some reason it didn't work out. It could be different reasons, a myriad, so to speak. We're using an SAT words here, people. A plethora, even. 2 in a row. I'm giving you the business here like it's hereditary. Shout out to Tay-Rock. Anyway, but there is no training when you just kind of give yourself this title and you're not exhibiting those characteristics. Again, a princess is trained to becoming a queen. Meaning, She's being taught from a very young age, the value of what she holds, the value of that title. If you just give yourself that title, now you're entitling yourself, but you're exhibiting that mindset of a young girl who should still be in training. Hence, that was my interpretation of the princess mindset. Of course, this is going to be different if you go to psychologytoday.com or this particular article, How the Princess Mentality Could Be Sabotaging Your Relationships, on sway.com, and that's sway with 2 A's, SWAAY.com. It could be looked at a lot differently. Now, of course, we want all these titles and these things to mean something. It should exhibit strength or, some sort of characteristic. And I'm not saying that any woman who calls herself a queen doesn't exhibit strength or anything such as that. But what comes along with that? Like, you can be a strong woman, but if you are exhibiting characteristics such as, you need to do this for me because I'm all that you're going to be able to get. I've heard that before. Not said to me, because I'm a good-looking guy and I'm cute, especially cute. But no, because I'm the best you're ever going to find, or I'm this or I'm that, or something related to their something about them sexually. I've heard that before, and mostly from reality TV shows. And how I feel about reality TV shows.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
Anywho. And it's like, when you consider something like that said, it's like, wow, you're supposed to be a queen. You want me to treat you as such, but you're referring to, your sexual attributes or your physical attributes as part of the reason why I should treat you as a queen. I'm like, most men today are beginning to realize their own self-worth, their own, what they want for themselves, to be at peace, to be loved themselves. So they're making, different choices, better choices when it comes to a woman. It's not just based on how she looks. It's just not based on, because men are visual creatures, that we can agree on. But it's not just based on how she looks. It's just not based on whether or not she can cook. Now, of course, you're going to have different ends of the spectrum, of course. But if you have a mentality about yourself as a woman, then you would want to exhibit those traits and characteristics, especially if you're looking for love or looking for someone to value you enough that it perhaps can transition into love. Then you would want to exhibit those traits that would turn a man to say, hey, here's a woman who takes care of herself. She's about her business. She's not in the streets. She's not she speaks with grace. She can assert herself without it seeming like it's petty. In my personal opinion, if you want to call yourself a queen, you're not petty. I know that may seem kind of difficult to believe, but let's face it. And this goes back to a lot of those reality TV shows where a woman will call herself a queen, and then it takes what? 2 or 3 sentences, and all of a sudden you want to take off your shoes, you want to fight, you want to mess up your hair, you want to, do all these sorts of things that would turn a lot of men off. Like, why are you behaving this way? You don't have to stoop down to someone's level and go, petty toe-to-toe with them simply because of something that they say or do. Because now you've given your control over to them. Now they know what it takes to get you all riled up. Now they know what it takes to get you out of character. That's the difference for me, in large part, between a queen who is actually saying, hey, you know what? I have dignity about myself. I can choose to disengage from this conversation. Versus a queen still with the princess mindset who still needs that training, who falls into that role of pettiness. So you have to be wary of who you're always dealing with when a woman refers to herself as a queen. Is she a queen with a queenly mannerisms, queenly behavior? Doesn't mean that she's perfect by any means. It just means that she knows who she is. She's established saying, you know what? I've had highs in my life. I've had lows in my life. I understand my value. I understand my worth. I can choose to give my attention here or here, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to be me. I'm not going to need material things because material things do not define me. Or is she going to be a princess who still needs the training to know and evaluate her worth? I mean, we should always want to do that over time. We should always want to continue to be the absolute best that we can be. But let's face it, sometimes we fail, sometimes we fall. It's just a matter of getting back up and saying, you know what? I learned from this mistake. I learned from this issue or this problem. I'm going to be a better me tomorrow, and avidly work towards that. So that way, that training that they may not have gotten previously, once they begin to recognize their worth and their value, they can then transition from princess to queen and be entitled to that title versus having a sense of entitlement. Hopefully that put a little spring in your step there. I told you guys at the beginning of season 2, gloves were going to come off. Gloves were going to come off. I was not going to sugarcoat anything with you guys. I'm just going to tell you the real. I was going to just go, hey, let's put this on the table. Let's chop it up. Let's talk about it and everything such as that. So again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. The article will definitely be in the description box below. Next week, next episode, I'm not holding back. I'm not holding back. Let me go to my sheet. Pardon me. All right, because I wrote this down because once it hits my heart, I feel that I have to speak on it. So next week we're going to talk about: are you setting your children up to be successful? Are you setting them up for failure? All right then. That's all I'm going to say on that. That's all I'm going to say on that. Are you setting your kids up for failure? Are you setting them up for long-term success? This has been another episode of this Into the Cypher podcast. I'm your host, your guru, Cypher Da MC, the Muhammad Ali of MCs. And once again, I want each and every one of you to definitely have a blessed week upcoming. Be safe. Continue to be safe. Continue to love each other. Continue to look at yourself and know that you have value, you have worth. If no one else tells you, I'm telling you that you have value and you have worth. And as always, before you can love anyone else, you must first love yourself. And I am out this thing. Cypher.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is... Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is... I will not lose.
Into the cypher with your light.